right, y'all. Welcome to Walking Nine with me, Derek White. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this today, but man, I tell you what, it is. This is funnier than shit. We've been talking a lot about putting within my shorts and some of the casts that we've been doing, but I don't know if anyone saw this today. But Patton Kazar, oh my lord, right there at the Valspar, I think it's saying he was three over through eight holes, takes his putter and literally boots it across the green, bending the shaft. I mean, unreal. Misses a putt, launches it. I mean, I'll tell you though, the kick he gives on this thing is unreal. This is priceless. But this is just this is the testament of tour players are fighting just let's say fighting their demons, their frustrations, where they're struggling just as much as you, the golfer, is. But I found it really interesting that no one seemed to want to mention what putter this potentially was. And I've looked at the image, I've watched a little bit of the shorts and the reels and whatever, but this honestly looks like a Scotty Cameron Fastback 1.5 with a black finish, white line down the back. Definitely a mallet style, but find this pretty priceless. I don't know if anyone else saw this, but this is awesome. Love seeing tour players lose their cool. Obviously, everyone's covering, don't condemn him, blah, blah, blah. But then he pulls out with a back injury. I mean, this is priceless. This article I'm reading right now is on Yahoo Sports. It brings up some of the, Tommy Bolt, like just literally, go figure, Ty Bolt, just slinging his I think it's a fairway wood into the pond. Let's see, I can't remember what event it was, but he's slinging it out there, and that's just priceless to see. The best in the business get as frustrated as you or I would. But anywho, I thought that was priceless. I hope some people get to see the clip of him just chucking this thing. Priceless, priceless. I love it. But you know, the thing about putting is that that's how easily it can frustrate us. It can really line us up and make us just like feel like we're the worst player in the world with missing putts as short as Patton did here at the Valspar Championship in Esbrook, Florida. So pretty comical. Now, if you're looking to get a putter that misses and gets launched into the air, you can go to Scotty Cameron's website here. Go to the custom section. I'm pretty sure it's a Fastback 2.0. There's lots of cool finishes that you can get on this thing. So if you're looking, because this tour player uses it and it doesn't work. Anywho, I was just cruising through some stuff today, and I found Good Golf raises 45 million in round. Was it round led by Creative Sports Capital? This is pretty cool with these guys up out of Dallas. 2020 is when they got their start. They obviously, most of all of you that would be watching any golf online through YouTube or Instagram, you know who these guys are. Pretty much leaders of the creator industry when it comes to golf and lifestyle of golf. Definitely a funny bunch of guys. I mean, they got Peyton Manning in on this. This is pretty interesting stuff. But congratulations to those guys. Really excited for them. But let's do what we do best on this channel. I'm going to randomly go ahead and look up. Let's actually take a little step. I know a lot of people found it pretty interesting when we did, Ask AI. So let's just say, I don't know, say how to fix my driver. Let's see what AI wants to tell us today. Driver swing. Let's be a little bit more exact with it, right? Okay. Interesting. Let's have a little fun with this. So we got setup and stance. The AI is going to tell us setup and stance, backswing, transition and downswing, follow through, common mistakes to avoid, and practice drills. So let's run through these real quick. The opening, AI, please tell me how to fix my swing. So to improve your driver swing, focus on solid setup, smooth backswing, and controlled transition and proper release. Here's a breakdown of key areas to address. Setup. What do we got? Wait a minute. No, we need a drum roll here. Not that one. I don't want that one. I want a drum roll. Circumstance. Ball position. Align the ball off the front heel, basically your lead foot, for a more neutral position. Neutral position. I've never heard anyone explain neutral position for the proper ball position. I mean, you can put a little bit forward, a little bit back. I've never actually had it explained as neutral, so that's kind of interesting. Um, Okay, but nothing wrong there. We definitely want the golf ball a little bit more forward in the stance because most of us will be explaining that we're creating a ascending angle into the ball. Your better players on tour that you're watching, they actually create more of a level strike or even slightly downward, especially during the persimmon days. You definitely want a little bit more downward strike. But given how much low spin tech is out there now, I mean, a lot of tour players are struggling with these lower spin heads, so they're trying to find more spin. I wouldn't doubt that they're putting a lot more downward angle on their angle of attack, increasing their spin loft angle to get some more backspin for more control. Because these guys don't need speed; they need more control, be more precise off the tee. So let's say moving on. It's a taller, so stand taller. So we're talking about stance. You're going to stand taller and maintain the balance. Let's see, maintain a balanced position with slight bend in your knees. Now, what I would tell you with this, if you're looking at this, or even if someone took an AI, threw an AI question in there. So this is the Google AI, which I think is like Genie or whatever it is. But if you put it in there and then you start creating like your own, let's say article about this stuff, um, I would honestly say like stance. I would describe it more as posture versus stance. I mean, you can go with stance, but I would describe it more as posture if you're describing like being taller. Yes, you're going to be taller. The interesting thing about a driver is that it's a flatter angle. The lie angle is much flatter, but you do stand slightly taller with it, mainly due to the fact that your ball position, the overall length of the club is going to make you feel a little bit taller. You do want a flatter swing overall, so the lie angle is flatter, ultimately making your spine a little bit more upright, creating that flatter motion back and through on the ball. Plus, again, it's teed up. But I mean, I don't have a problem with it saying that you're taller. Just don't take it too literal. And the thing to keep in mind when you go to bend your knees, a lot of players when they go to bend their knees, as they go to bend, they'll think maybe like sit down, and that can actually increase, or let me rephrase that, decrease their forward bend angle with their shoulders, creating too flat of an angle that can then induce a potential over the top action. But AI, you're not doing too bad. AI is not doing too bad. Let's look at backswing. Turn your feet out, trail foot to optimize rotation on the backswing. So it's describing the trail foot to be flared outward, which I would say good job AI. I would definitely encourage doing that for anybody struggling with any kind of hip rotation. But we also can think of someone that may be turning too much. We might want to actually tell them to bring their foot more, let's say, pigeon toed or less flared to restrict mobility within the hip. So I'm good with that. Let's see, backswing club face. Keep the club face square to the target at the top of the backswing. So this can be unclear. It obviously gives you links, but this link is just giving us just some YouTube videos. Let's see here. Mark Crossfield is basically the link to this. So this is where AI is pulling it from the web, is mainly Mark Crossfield. But yeah, so driver swing myth, blah, blah, blah. So the piece of like thinking of your club face staying square to the target, there's only the only intersection you have when you're working with the club face and the target is at the ball, basically the intersection of your swing arc and your target line. So you don't want to think of a linear action. So if you're thinking of a straight line and you're just keeping your club face perpendicular to that, we want to think of more of that elliptical motion, like we've mentioned with like all other swings. We want to basically keep square really to the arc itself. If you're staying square to the arc, you're going to do a good job. But if you get too fixated on the idea of keeping the face literally pointing at the target, you're going to create a bunch of new problems. You're probably going to restrict your turns, get too steep, create a lot of spin loft issues, meaning you're just going to swing too down on it, potentially start to lift more than you already have adjusted within the setup position for your posture, and you might start buckling your arm to try and compensate for any angles of attack. I tend to like to call anyone who's lifting and trying to route the club as a lift and dumper, or someone that is coming steep stays more chest down because they're trying to not to lift their head. Funniest thing, I love that one. I love when someone says, I don't lift my head. It's bad. bad. Don't lift head, bad. Anyway, so you're getting steep. You choose not to lift your head. You'll tend to try and break your arm. A lot of people call it chicken winging and stuff like that. So chicken winging, that act or that motion plays into a lot of things that you could have wrong with your swing. But it's also a way I like to call it J swing, where you come down steep and then you just try to shallow out the club and square the club face. So the face could be square. The path is obviously jacked up, but you can shallow out your club very quickly with adjustment in the arms. So with that being said, don't think of your club face as being square to the target. Think of your club face staying square to your arc. All right. That's the number one I would tell you with this. Let's see, wrist hinge. Allow your wrist to hinge naturally at the top. Yeah, I would say, yeah, just let your wrist hinge. The funny thing about all this is that when it's describing grip, it actually says, let's see, a relaxed grip, avoid excessive pressure. One thing I would tell anyone, and this is one of my favorite things to say, is that this is bullshit. Use a relaxed grip, avoid. Okay, so you go into people who say, like, hold it like a baby bird. You just don't kill the bird, but don't let the bird go away. Just keep it right there. Yeah, that's how you gotta do it. Then you swing, and then you're gonna be a great golfer just by just holding that baby bird. No, it's not going to work that way. As you're applying centrifugal force and you're swinging faster, if you keep that idea of the baby bird in there, that club is going to fly out from your hands. If you look at all high-speed camera position, or sorry, high-speed camera video of tour players at the moment of the strike and really post-impact, their forearm muscles, their triceps are all flexed like crazy. You're squeezing very, very hard. Now, I would say, like, in your stance and in your setup position, yeah, you don't want to death grip it, but the squeezing down thing, it's just a myth. That's just absolute bullshit. You don't have to worry about being light in the hands. I've had students come in that took it so literal that the grip is literally just moving around in their hands because they're trying not to create too much pressure, thinking that's going to ultimately give them a better swing. In reality, the second I told them to squeeze it like hell, they started hitting the ball further and more accurately, and they got so excited that they just kept coming back and asking for more information from me. And those players are some of the best here in Austin for the amateur status. So they're listening today on this episode. I hope you're still doing well. Now, kind of moving on from that, we talked about wrist hinge, the trail arm. Bend your trail arm slightly to create a more connected backswing. I've never heard of it like this. Bend your trail arm, which for righty would be right hand, right arm, lefty left arm. Bend your trail arm slightly to create a more connected backswing. I don't know what that actually would mean. Let's see what it's referencing. Yeah, it's still referencing a bunch from Mark Crossfield, so we'll have to go in there and maybe do a little looks-a-poo on what he's got and what he likes to say here. But yes, in the backswing, you're going to want your trail arm to bend slightly. I wouldn't say slightly. You're looking to basically try and bend beyond a 90-degree angle. So you're trying to minimize or try to get as much bend out of that arm in the backswing. Even allowing like the lead arm to bend a little bit is not the end of the world. I mean, you're not trying to let yourself go 290-degree bends with both arms, but don't ever think of yourself as trying to keep your lead arm like it's literally a post, like it can't have any flexion in it. I always tell my students, allow that lead arm to have the feel of bending. You'll actually find that you swing more effectively that way and more efficiently and with more speed overall and overall better positioning and hitting that ball more to the center of the club face. So shoulder turn, let's see what they're saying here. Rather than just your arms, rotate the shoulders. That's the number one thing in golf. If you don't turn, you can't swing a golf club. So the old thing we would say, or that I learned from everyone I grew up around with golf and my instructors and so on and so forth, is what's the secret of a good backswing? Turn and bend your trail arm. Turn your shoulders and your hips and bend your trail arm. Boom, you're off to the races. Now go have at it. Hit some golf balls. Truth's in the dirt, as they say, right? Now we go into transition. Let's see. Initiate with the hips. I'm good with that. Shift your hips to initiate the downswing rather than leading with the arms. I'm good with that. The shift initiating with the hips. Reality, it's a ground up approach, so you have to understand that you're looking to actually think of more from feet to knees to hips versus just your hips. Right? You've got to use your legs to maximize or to allow yourself to turn your hips. So I'm good with that. I just think a little bit more detail, probably clicking on the link would be more helpful. But AI, you're not doing too bad. I'd say so far I'm giving AI like a B, okay, from it stripping everything off the web, obviously from this Mark Crossfield guy. Let's see, swing path, focus on swinging from inside to out rather than over the top. That's a hard one to really say. Yes, we want to swing from in to out because when we swing back, we swing to the inside of our target line. We want to return it as close as we can to the same direction or position, with obviously force, with that potential energy. But then rather than coming over the top, that's a little difficult. If there are some problems with someone's swing and they don't know what the issue is that's creating the overtop, which is most common, is that if your club face is wrong, meaning your grip position, or you're affecting the face angle through your wrist bend angles in the backswing outside of your grip being maybe weak, or you're over rotating your arms in the backswing to open up the club face. Anytime the club face becomes open, overall open to the target. Let me actually backtrack because this might get a little confusing. So I said earlier, I don't want players thinking about keeping the club face square of the target. Okay. So in reality, you don't want to think of it as a linear action. You don't want to think of like this straight back on the target line. We want to think of the elliptical action of the swing. We want to swing within the arc. So we're trying to keep the club face in relationship to the target square, but keeping it square to the arc is how we ultimately are keeping it square to the target. All right. So if you draw out on a diagram, you think of a straight line and you put a curve to it, and then you put these like intervals of just straight lines that are basically intersecting the arc. If you think of that, that ultimately is square when it returns back to the target line, unless we start going extreme into outs or extreme over the tops. But that's a way to think about it. So when you're trying to get yourself swinging with the club face maintaining squareness, and you're trying to swing into out. Again, the biggest culprit of getting over the top or creating a lot of malfunctions within your swing mechanics or faults, it really just comes down to your club face. So I always employ, get a good grip, focus on that, start learning how squareness to an arc actually works, what your wrist bends do to influence the face angle, and also it influences path and angle of attack, but we won't go too deep there. And then just learning that natural rotation of the arms. You don't want to overdo it or underdo it. So there's definitely some things out there that you can do to really help yourself keep that club face relatively square and maintain good swing path. But just remember, face has the largest influence on jacking up your swing, basically, just jacking it up. Now, release, it says allow the club to release naturally through the impact zone. Now, what does naturally mean? If we wanted to really figure this out, I would just say the natural rotation is just your arm rotating. So you just think of roll your arm nice and easy back, unroll your arm nice and easy through. So I guess that's what they're really meaning through the kind of the natural release, just rolling the arm. A lot of players have an idea of thinking of maintaining that right angle between the lead arm and the club, trying to like hold the position. I want to get lag. So I always tell my students that lag is a byproduct of good mechanics. So you don't just go and grab lag and it works. You have to have really good mechanics for you to have proper lag. But before we just dive into a million other things, the follow through, maintaining balance, keeping your weight balanced throughout the swing. That's awesome. That's very, very important to have. Let's see. Rotate the shoulders, follow through the shoulders, get it, release, allowing the club to release naturally. That's naturally again. So using that quite a bit. AI is just kind of repeating itself on a few pieces here. And let's jump into this. Oh, speaking of misspeaking, in yesterday's episode, I said swing labs when I was giving some Ricky Fowler shit with with actually lab putters. So again, it was lab putter. So that was a nice little misspeak I had. I didn't pick up on that until I thought about it later today. The next day over after recording that. So I apologize if I confuse anybody. It was lab putters. I was busting Ricky Fowler's balls on about changing his putter all the time, from the jailbird to the Omega big fucking block of metal at the end of that stick. All right, so now this is where we're going to get kind of interesting. Hopefully I get some good laughs out of this. Um, your common mistakes to avoid: swinging over the top, swing out of balance, not transferring weight efficiently, and poor posture. Okay, so this is number 5 out of the list of 6 things. Swinging over the top, we already got an understanding of that. Swinging out of balance, typically, balance is going to start immediately in the setup position. So the biggest problem I see with students is that they they're so worried about where they're hitting the golf ball on the club face, and rightfully so. You want to be worried about that. But how we go through it with our basic logic is the funny part. So if we're hitting it in the heel, we will either back up or we'll lean back. So we'll actually start bracing our weight more into our heels, which then creates really the problem. So your distance from the ball is a factor to balance and contact to the center of the club face. But if you start using like, okay, let me back up, let me lean away from it, or say you're hitting it more in the toe and you think you're too far from it, and you start leaning forward or getting closer to the ball, you're creating all these problems. So really, I mean, this kind of comes back to one of the main staples I say on this channel. You got to go get help. You need someone to look at your setup and start helping you really dissect and analyze where your problems lie. But if we're basically going through it, you have to understand the second you become dynamic in your swing. So you go from statically sitting there over the ball to then movement to go and grab that potential energy in the backswing. You're going to shift into the balls of your feet. Everybody does that. Okay. Everybody is going to do that. They're going to naturally shift into the balls of their feet the second they take the club off the ball. And this is because this is our dynamic balance point. You think of all sports that you've ever played, you don't sit directly into the toes, you don't sit directly into the heels. You have a nice balance. And the balls of the feet are the most flexible point within your feet to allow for maximum dynamic action, allowing you really, really good athletic movement within the swing. As much as golf, everyone thinks of it as a very staticky game, it is a very dynamic action. It's just you start with yourself kind of just not moving for a brief moment, hence getting into more waggles. But we can talk about that some other time. But poor balance does lead to contact issues and distance issues. So you really definitely want to improve your balance if you've never thought about it. The other one here is not transferring weight efficiently. This can lead to a lack of power and control. If you understand how the golf swing breaks down into training people or the real purpose of a golf swing. All right, so we tee it up. The idea of golf is to hit it, get it in play, and get it to the hole. Right. So that's distance and distance and direction is your primary focus points to hit the ball into the hole. So you tee off, you get it down there in as few strokes as possible. You take the ball out of play after you hole out, and then you move on to the next tee. You're doing the same thing. Distance and control. The better distance, the distance and direction you have, the easier it is for you to say master par and or score lower. When you have the deviations from this or variants of that give you very wide scatter patterns from distance and direction, you're not scoring as close to par or under par as you could. So you start seeing your score go up. So the real focus of improving your game is first getting distance and control, in a sense, mastered, or you become competent in it, and you can start keeping it more in play and towards your target. Now, with that being said, you move into your laws, which are going to be the angle of attack. Well, let me rephrase that. The list I like to put it as is your face, your path, your angle of attack, your contact or centerness of contact, COC, and then also running into your speed, which would be clubhead speed, connection to centerness of contact, which would give ball speed, but then you also have your angle of attack and dynamic loft, so you can get kind of crazy with that. But that's where you really have to understand that those pieces right there are super important. Now, when we're talking about this whole, efficiency of lack of power and control, well, the thing is that you could shift significantly leftward and get totally towards your target, but we could have some issues with that. So if you're being told that you're hanging off your right foot, you might first want to figure out why you're hanging off your right foot before you start trying to jump into, focusing on making sure to avoid something, right? So mistakes mistakes to avoid is not transferring your weight to your left side or your lead foot or your lead side or towards your target. You got to understand why that's not happening, right? You could stand up with no golf club and shift your weight pretty easily. So if you can do that, you can do it in a golf swing, but there's a reason why you tend not to shift. Okay. So definitely get someone to look at your swing. Let's see, practice drills. Ooh, anyone who knows me, they know that I'm going to really, really like what I'm about to hear. Practice drills. Under drill. Practice the feeling of rotating your torso under the club rather than over the top. Now, how this is working, an under drill. So practice feeling the feeling of rotating your torso under the club. So here's what I would tell you. The under I give anybody to really work on improving swing path and just overall angle of attack is basically alignment stick exercise or plane exercises. I call my under where you're dealing with hopefully an alignment stick or a stand that you can build through PVC or even the blue block, which I highly recommend. It's expensive, but that's one of the best training aids you can buy right now. So with that being said, you want to work on keeping the club within the plane. So if you get the under, I would prescribe you is alignment stick and or some kind of apparatus that allows you to put a stick down your pretty much in between your target line and your the outside of your toe line or your basically your body line or your parallel left position, and having that back just enough to where you're trying to swing your club on the inside of that and or under it, on the backswing and on the downswing. If you worked on that, plus you had a good face control through grip and understanding, say, like a 45-degree face angle rule throughout your arc, you could really start getting yourself hitting it much further and straighter with a little bit of that tail draw for sure. Now, always remember, you got to check your face aim too. So you might be able to do these things and all of a sudden you have a nasty little hook and you start cursing Derek. I hate you, Derek. You told me these things and now I'm on the other side of the golf course. Yes, but we have to make sure that there's a few other things happening. So make sure that club face is square. And honestly, you can find some good aiming face techniques online. I've found them myself. I don't have any off the top of my head. But basically, I would just tell you to pull the toe of the club back away from the offset hosel, and bam, it's going to look wildly open to you. But you spent so many years, trust me, 98, 99% of students are going to have this problem, if not 100%. You get so used to that offset aim technique you've created for your eyes to think something is square. When you pull it back, you'll vomit. I've had plenty of students in my bay literally turn green when I've messed with their face angles and showed them with a lie angle tool how square and straight they are. And I've had them do it themselves and then come back and grab the club, and then all of a sudden they're just like, I can't believe that I've been aiming 45 degrees left, 15 degrees left, 20 degrees left for 30 years, right? Offset's been around a long time. And the higher the game or the more it's a game improvement club, you think of like a Big Bertha or even your G line with ping, those are pretty offset. So trust me, you're aiming left. Check it. Check it, and comment and tell me if you found yourself, oh my God, Derek, you're right. I am totally aiming too much left. Or if you're left-handed, don't want to forget the lefties. I actually teach probably more lefties than anyone on the planet Earth. Austin is lefty golf capital of the world. Swear to God, I promise you that. So you lefties out there, just remember you've got yours is going to be right. So just check your face aim and then follow that simple. You got good grip, got good face aim. You're working on your path. Working through a plane exercise, an old shaft in the ground, alignment stick, blah blah blah, under, and rock and roll it. So I liked his title, but I didn't read the details of what he was talking about. So the way I say under is definitely better than this guy's. Believe me. Feeling the backswing. Practice the feeling of the club being square at the top of how. This is like you already know a lot of this stuff. So again, like golf IQ. Where's your golf IQ at? Right? Jeez, I mean, this is kind of leaving people in the kind of geez, just fight for their own here. Again, this is running through. So I might do a whole like lockdown on what this Mark Crossfield guy is saying. He's definitely got some funny icons. He shows a lot of over the top stuff. He's got his own sim bay. So we'll take a look at it and see what he's all about. Release drill, last little piece of AI helping here from the web. Practice releasing the club naturally through, again, here we go. So we got release drill, we got release. So we got follow through, practice drill. So a release drill, practice releasing the club naturally through the impact zone. That's not really a drill. That's basically just recapping. So this is AI just struggling with maybe what the content was, or basically stripping down the script of what this guy was saying. But if you're looking to really improve the feel of your release, to be honest, swinging with a trail hand let go exercise, creating abduction, letting your lead arm just open up from your chest, letting the body really feel more natural. You're grabbing a tennis racket and doing, like, I don't know tennis terms too well, but hopefully I'm not butchering this. But your lead hand, just doing a lead hand backhand, I guess. Just feeling that openness. The other thing there is also just swinging to a full finish. Just let yourself really go kind of old school, where you're going like shoulder to shoulder swings. That can be extremely helpful. But I mean, AI overall with this, I mean, okay, not too bad. I think it's pretty good, but definitely some things in here I would definitely steer a little bit clear of. But yeah, this is good. So again, just to recap, I'm going to be trying to make a dailies on this. It's going to be this series is called Walking Nine with me, Derek, which will also have some interviews. I'm going to try and get some people on, some other coaches, some local coaches, as well as local golfers, as well as local reps in the industry from all the name brands out there. All of these people, I love their take on golf, and I would love to just really see if we can get them on and have all the local people here in Austin really get to know the golf community here. So, with that being said, again, I've really ask anyone out there, jump on, comment, tell me what you want to talk about, shoot me a link. I will look at anything and tell you if it's good or bad, or if it's funny. But the one thing I find hilarious today is this putter got booted across the green from Patton, and I'm telling you, that was a Scotty Cameron fastback 1.5 with a black finish and a solid white line from top to back, mallet style. I don't know what. Let me see what kind of freaking. I can't tell if it's a slant neck. I mean, for it to fly that well, it had to have been a slant neck. Let me see. Actually, I got the video up here. Let's see this real quick. This is going to be priceless. Let's do this. Actually, you know what? Let's just make this happen. Let's make this happen. We got to watch this as a team. We got to watch this as a team. Okay, so let's do a little share screen. I'm going to pull this up. Where are you? There we go. This is priceless. Let's take a look at this.
He's a 3-time winner on the PGA Tour, and a little bit
boom, lights it.
Auditioning maybe for his NFL.
Goes and gets his wedge. He's gonna putt.
That was about a 20-yard.
He's gonna putt with his wedge.
Extra point.
Damn, he is not happy.
Comfortable with who they have.
It's like, look at the stretch on this though. This is nuts. He laces this. That is a boot. Let's back that up one more time. Where is that? Oh, give it to me. Look at that extension. That's like watching an NFL punter right there. I mean, look, he's even got the toe, his left toe down and left heel up. I mean, that's a classic punting technique. I think he comes a little bit off the ground with this. I mean, this guy, everyone's talking about maybe field goal. I would say punter all the way. This dude, look at that thing bounce out there. That is priceless. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff in my day on the golf course, but I would tell you, be really careful when you do stuff like this. I mean, this is funny to all of us, but I played with a guy in a tournament down in Florida years and years ago. I just got off the green on 18, finishing up, and I think it was a Sunday event. I was in like the final 4 or 5 pairings. So we had that, and I'm trying to think. Yeah, so I went into the locker room. I'm wrapping up my round. I'm not in it. I think I played pretty well. I think I shot like maybe one or two under that day. But anyway, I'm not in it. I wrap up. I get out. I'm basically about to leave the locker room at the course, and this guy comes rushing in, and there's blood all over. He's holding it with like a bag towel almost, and he gets over the sink, and I'm like, oh my lord! And I go up to him. Are you okay, buddy? Are you okay? And he's like, oh man, I got a really bad cut. And I'm like, well, let me see it. And I look down. I mean, it's gashed all the way across his palm. So from basically his thumb into his pinky is just this big open gash on the palm of his hand. I mean, it's pretty gnarly. You can see the fatty tissue, no doubt. And I'm just sitting there like, holy shit, this guy is bleeding out like crazy. I was worried that it cut the thumb deep enough to get into the artery. So I tell him to sit still. I mean, he was turning pale. I run to their pro shop and I tell their staff that they need to call 911 right away. I go back and grab him. I actually asked him if they have any gauze or anything. We get him, we wrap his hand, we get him out there, and the ambulance shows up. A lot of people are kind of panicking. Anyway, he gets out of there. He goes to the hospital. Hospital. Anywho, and I go and I said, like, guys, did anyone see what happened? What did he do? And they go, he snapped his putter, missing the putt. He was actually in the final second to last group, and he missed the putt to either, I don't know if it was a playoff or if it was just a tie for second or something like that. I can't really remember off the top of my head. But anyway, he was so livid. He snapped his putter across his knee and it slid up and cut his hand open. And he tried to play it cool from what some of these other golfers were telling me. He pulled his hand in, and then blood was just gushing. I went and looked out the green. You can see all the blood across the green, leading all the way into kind of the, I guess really kind of under the deck that goes into the players' entrance or members' entrance for the locker room. But anywho, we went and looked for the putter and found it on the side of the green. He like snapped it and tossed it. And I think like that when he snapped, I think it's when it cut, but some people were saying that when he tossed it. But anyway, when you get upset on the golf course, it's really just not worth it. So it kind of goes back to like saying emotion over skill level. Now, this guy, obviously, he's on tour. He's got skill level, but he's struggling with his putter. Maybe you should give me a call. Definitely could help him improve his playing stroke. But again, just remember this old saying that was told to me when I threw one of my first clubs. My coach came up to me and said, Derek, come here. I was like, what? I probably didn't do that. He would have slapped me over the face, but maybe in my head I did. But he looked me right in the eye and he goes, you're not good enough to get mad. And that stuck with me. And that's why I always try to encourage students is like, you got to live in the moment. It's okay to be frustrated. It's going to happen. Checking your club, snapping your club, punting your club. It's funny as shit on the PGA Tour to see this. And there's plenty of reels out there we can find with tour players losing it after hitting drives or wedges or putts. But just be careful out there. Remember, it is a game. Have a love for it. You're going to only just beat yourself up if you just are just worried about, playing the best you can in a sense of score. You need to just really focus on living within the moment. And the more that you live within the moment and improve your skill, one brick at a time, the lower your score is going to get and more consistent you become. But you just got to remember, like, you got to work at it. This is a game of mastery. This game is a game of a lifetime. Okay. And enjoy yourselves out there, but also enjoy seeing tour players lose their shit online or on television. So I hope everyone enjoyed today's episode. This is Derek White with Sunday Stick, and you're walking 9 with Derek. We'll see you soon. Take care.